My next author, who I'm super excited to introduce you to, also has some tips for those of us who have to manage stress. Her book is called The Energetics of Joy, and I'm really excited to bring out Michelle Eggenberger. We're going to talk about what the energetics of joy are. Michelle, come on out here and join me.
Hello.
Hello. So, The Energetics of Joy, natural rebalancing secrets to stop stressing and start living the life you want. Such an exciting concept. I want to know to you, what does the energetics of joy mean, and who is this book for?
Well, the energetics of joy is basically aligning back physically, mentally, and spiritually to yourself. It's finding the best way to have radiant energy, to feel at peace, and to find joy in your life. And it's for all of those people that are out there that are experiencing stress and anxiety and trying to deal with it in some way and haven't been successful.
Yeah. And you actually have an interesting background you bring to this work. You're an acupuncturist. Talk a little bit more about your background and what led you to discovering the energetics of joy.
Well, actually, I come from corporate America. I used to be a creative director in one of the biggest advertising agencies in the US. And I was stressed and tired, and I started getting sick. So my own personal journey took me to start studying alternative medicine, and I became a doctor of Oriental medicine. I'm a health coach and transformational coach, and I'm also a yoga teacher.
All the things. How long was that transformation? We're talking about inspiring transformation today. So when you started to feel like your corporate job wasn't working until now you're best-selling author of The Energetics of Joy, how long was that transformation for you?
Well, it started around like when I was 27, 28, and I started the transformation when I started getting sick, which was a couple of years ago. No, more than 10 years ago.
10.
Yeah, more than 10 years ago, because I've been practicing for 10 years now, and I started studying all the other aspects because I was seeing my patients, going through that, coming to me for physical ailments that the root was unresolved stress and anxiety. So when I started discovering this, I started, getting more tools and keep on learning, because at the end of the day, we want to really, really, really help as much as we can.
So how long were you kind of in both worlds? How long before you quit your job after you started practicing Chinese medicine?
Well, actually, I started studying, like my master was 4 years, and a bachelor's degree. So after 4 years, as soon as I graduated, I just said, I have to step out. And I did. And the universe supported me.
That's so powerful. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I know one of the things that you did while you were writing the book was really getting the message out and attracting people into your world. Manny asks, how do I release the blocks of people won't read or purchase my book? A lot of people get stopped from writing their book, Manny, because they're worried nobody will read it or it won't help anyone. You actually had readers even before you published your book. People have read this book before today.
Yes. Well, Manny, I will say that don't worry about that. Worry about the people that you're actually gonna help. It's not about you, it's about them. I think one of the biggest hurdles that we have is that our own selves gets in the middle of the transformation that we want to achieve for other people. So when you focus on not the results, but what you're generating, then, like I said before, the universe just supports you. And the people that are meant to listen and hear and read your book, they're just gonna be there.
It's an amazing process. It's scary to take that leap, though. And obviously, over the last decade or so, you've practiced taking the leap, but it's not any less scary.
No.
Every time you do it, it's like, oh, that's still scary. Great. So Deborah from Kentucky wants to know, how long did you have your book idea? I'm going to tweak your question, Deborah from Kentucky, because I know that a lot of people had an idea to write a book for a long time, and then this book idea actually took shape in the program. So, for how long did you know you wanted to write a book? And then, how did you get this idea?
Well, I think that writing a book for me, I've wanted to write a book since I was a little girl, and I think that actually making the decision was because a very close person of to me was going through a very challenging time, and it made me realize that all we have is now. So the idea was there for a long time, but it basically took me like meeting you and actually just doing it. And the idea actually happens with the process. The idea is kind of there, but it's not there. This lady is magical. So
thank you. But I think that's interesting to note. So a lot of people think I have to have my whole idea figured out and then I decide to write it. I actually think it's the opposite. You decide you're going to write it, and then the book sort of finds you, especially if you have a process like the one that we use.
Definitely. I mean, like your process, the idea of writing a book, like I said, since you're little, but starting your process, it's actually just becoming receptive to what's gonna come out.
So I'll ask you this since you brought it up, but what was something that was maybe different or that surprised you about working with the author incubator that you didn't know would be part of writing a book?
Well, I think the biggest thing is how important it is to find clarity. And this whole process is finding clarity to not just who you're wanting to talk to, but who is actually the person you want to become as an author. How do you want to come? Like I was saying before, it is challenging to step out there and put your words out there and thinking about, oh, who's gonna read my book? But actually the process of becoming clear that it's not for you, it's for everybody else. You're trying to make a difference, and becoming clear with that and understanding that you're actually serving, that for me was really wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think that surprises a lot of people because they think it's going to be a writing class. There's a little bit of writing class, but there's not a lot of writing class involved. So the energetics of joy, I know, is specifically for people dealing with stress, anxiety, depression. That seems like it's a condition of being human these days. But I want to show people your book because it's such a great cover, and plus it matches you. So this is Michelle's book, and this is the thing I would say to you is you've heard that I don't know, internet saying like check on your strong friend. What I would say is this book is such a great gift that you can give to somebody. This is a book that you can put in the hands of somebody who is stressed, who always does a little extra, who you see coming in early, staying late, people who have any sort of stress and anxiety and you don't know exactly what to say to them. Giving them a copy of The Energetics of Joy is going to give them some tools that they never expected. And I know, right? Would you agree with that? So it's a great gift. There is somebody you know to share this with. And I know the one other thing I will say is a lot of people find it hard to balance a business. You have a busy business, balancing being a mom and balancing writing your book. And I know that Noah is here. And Noah says hello. Who is Noah, and did he make writing your book easier or harder?
Well, Noah is my beautiful 6-year-old who, with his little brother, because my little baby is 9 months old, Shane, they were my inspiration, and they've made it so, how can I say, so easy to write this book in a way, because knowing that every other mother out there goes through stress and anxiety, especially, business entrepreneur moms that want to be like super women, we go through so much stress. So it made it really easy for me to start thinking about how I could help you if you're a busy mama, if you're an entrepreneur. I feel you, I know how it is, and I want to help you. And Noah was there with he's right now with actually my assistant Kathy. She's
Hi,
taking care of me.
Kathy. I suspect you're the real help.
Yes, she's like my right hand. So yeah.
But this is what I want to say is when you started this book, your baby was probably 4 or 5 months old. And like there's no day coming where you're not going to be as busy as you got a 4 or 5 month old and a 5 or 6 year old. Was he just starting kindergarten? You know,
Yes.
like a first year in school, you got a baby, like a business. This is what it takes to be somebody who so this is what it takes to be somebody who makes a difference, is to be able to call in your resources. Your husband Anthony, I saw him helping out, like be able to call in those resources and say, hey, I'm gonna buckle down and get this book done. There's a lot of you asking, you know, how do I get started? How do I get it done? It's a support system and the commitment. When I said, how did your kids help you? She was like, because they inspired me, right? And you could have easily jumped into, oh, all the reasons it was so hard, because it is, but everything's hard. The energetics of joy. If you want to know what it takes to rebalance and start living the life you want, pick up a copy of this book, share it with a friend. Michelle, thank you so much for being my guest.